I'm Queen ShanShan, and this is a broadcast podcast. Hey, Edward.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Anything. Go ahead.
Do you ever get that not so fresh feeling in your beard?
Oh, yeah. Oh, have you seen my beard?
Well, I know of a local company that's called Napoli Naturals that offers do-it-yourself skincare and hair care products. And they are the bomb. And it'll freshen that beard right up in a jiffy with no chemicals.
I love all that.
The shop is called Napoli Naturals, and it's right here in Los Angeles, California. Sharon and Umar combined natural products like jojoba oils and coconut oils and tea tree oils that will freshen your skin right up and make it polished. Visit them today at Napoli Naturals or go shop directly at their website at napolinaturals.com.
And tell them that Queen ShanShan sent you hunting.
Broads, hey girl, hey. Welcome to our brand new episode. This is an episode for the masses. But before we even go into that, I want to encourage you all to listen to our last 13 episodes on season 1, and we are on all the major podcast platforms. We actually have listeners in Sri Lanka and Japan. So, ayubowan and arigato. Thanks, broads. This week we have a double special treat, and I am just the cream filling, okay? We have two friends of mine, Victor Barillas. Am I saying it right?
Yay! Usually you say it like a white girl, Barillas. No, Barillas.
She is a white girl.
Oh, easy. And then we have my other great friend, Arsenio Alejandro Cruz.
They call me Galo.
Okay. Welcome, Victor and Arsenio.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great to be here.
So before we get into the conversational tea, let's talk about what we love to talk about is food. This week's topic is our favorite brunch spot.
Oh my God.
We love to go to brunch, right?
Yeah, we love it.
Sunday fun day all day long.
Yeah.
Yes.
So many good spots. So many good spots.
So what is your favorite, Victor?
It really all depends. If I want to get really trashy and like watch some drag queens, I go to like the Hamburger Mary's. You know? But if I just wanted like a chill sit down place, I'll probably go like to Tortilla Republic.
Great.
Yeah.
They have the best margaritas.
They do. And like these eggs that they had on top of like these tortilla and like salsa things. Oh my God. So good.
Heather always, my friend Heather loves, she's like, when are we going to go back to Tortilla Republic?
Yeah.
So she loves it there. She loves margaritas. What's your favorite, Arsenio?
God, that's a tough question. It's a good question, but I think if I have to go, I love going to the Grand Market. Because
downtown.
Yeah, if you go with friends, you don't have to choose a particular spot. There's different types of cuisine, different parts of different worlds.
Yes.
There's Thai, Chinese, pizza, there's beer pubs, there's coffee. So I love going there. But you're absolutely right, Victor. If I want to get trashed, then I definitely go to WeHo for a good,
We all get trashed in WeHo, honey. And it's an early evening for me. I'm in bed by 6 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
But we start, at 11, so it's all good. It's a good workout.
It's a good workout. A good day's work for sure.
Welcome, broads, and we welcome Victor and Arsenio. Welcome, boys.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, it's Galo.
Okay. We got Galo and Sistina over here.
Sistina.
Sophia.
Sophia Viagra. That's my alter ego. We'll talk about her later.
Victor and Arsenio, we have been friends. I've known Victor for officially 10 years?
I think so.
10 years. Yeah. And I know you because of work, because you're my client as well.
Right.
And you've introduced me to a ton of your friends.
Right.
Which leads me to knowing Arsenio.
Right.
Correct.
And me and Arsenio, we met, 2 years ago at a party?
Probably longer. We probably got to actually engage at a party about 2 years ago.
Right.
But I remember meeting Shannon about 5 or
No.
years ago.
You guys did meet earlier than that because I had a birthday party, remember? And then we were at the Abbey and you were dancing. And that's when your wig fell off, remember?
Wig fell off. I took it off because some little twink was challenging me on the dance floor, and I had to call him out.
Did you have one underneath it?
No, she was
I was filling my oats, and this little twink on the dance floor at Abby was trying to challenge me on the dance floor, and I said, "Oh hell no!" So I stepped in the middle, I did my little dance, and I took off the wig, and the whole place shut down.
Yeah,
the whole place shut down.
Yeah, Arsenio was there.
You were there, and Frank.
No, but you were passed out on the couch.
I was
That's
a
right.
hot mess.
He was a mess.
It's one of those Abbey nights in West Hollywood. I can't
There's
remember.
no getting out alive.
You know what? My friend Frank actually put that on YouTube.
Yeah.
I gotta find that video and put it on the website because he has it all on video with me doing that.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was so fun.
That was a great
So
time.
that's when I met you, Arsenio. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that was eons ago.
Yeah. You met Galo that night.
So let's talk about how you guys came to be, and you came to America. You both are immigrants. Victor, you're from Guatemala. Arsenio,
Correct.
you're from Nicaragua.
Correct,
Did I say that right? Nicaragua. See, I can be ethnic if I want to. Easy. Don't be rolling your eyes over here. What was talk to us, what was it like to come from Nicaragua and Guatemala as immigrants to the country? Did you speak English?
Actually, I learned English in 6 months. So
What?
here's my story. Okay, I actually got smuggled into the country.
Oh,
yeah.
either you, Trump was not like you at
right?
all. Right?
At the age of 7, actually, I came in the trunk of a car. I was there with my aunt and a family friend, and then another lady. So there were 3 ladies and myself in the trunk of a car. My mom had left me when I was 4 in Guatemala while she came over here to, make better life. And then at 7, she sent for me. And so then I reconnected with her. I went to school in Malibu.
You went to school in Malibu,
Yes.
the whitest, richest town here in California.
Right. And so there was no one, the only people there that spoke Spanish were my cousin and my sister. But they were in 4th grade, so I actually got moved up a grade. So, I ended up graduating early, from high school. I just turned 17. But yeah, English, I had to pick it up. It was like a sink or swim type of thing, you know. So when you're earlier, it's easy to learn a language, But it was a completely, different world. If you can imagine a little town in Guatemala, Santo Domingo, Suchitepecas, to Malibu, California.
The
Big difference.
highfalutin.
Yeah.
And how did you acclimate into that new culture shock?
I think when you're young, it's very easy to acclimate. I think going from an actual rural country to a slow-paced environment like Malibu, the only thing different, of course, was the roads that are not cobblestone. There's not as many palm trees and rainforests and stuff. But overall, I don't know. It was kind of, I guess, I thought it was easy just because I was so young. When you're young, you don't necessarily really. Focus too much on being an outsider, even though I was. But, there were times where you definitely saw that you didn't look like everybody else.
And you knew, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
This is not Guatemala. This is
Right.
not
Right.
our small town, right?
Right.
And then Arsenio, what about you? When did you come to the country?
We came during the Reagan years in late 80s, in 88, from Managua, Nicaragua. And my parents first, my dad and my brother came first. And then a month later, my mom, my sister, and I came through. We came legal. So what's his name? Trump would be excited that we came in legal.
What's his name?
To the political asylum.
You weren't in a trunk?
You went in
I
the
was
trunk?
You're in the
truck.
back seat.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, different experience.
Different experience for sure. But it was in the late 80s. And I just remember, I was 5 years old. And I remember crying the whole way to Mexico City. And from there we had layover back to
Why were you crying?
LAX. We were leaving home, and that's all. I'd never been on a plane, so I was scared, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I do remember that experience. And my mom said she had me on a dog leash. Yeah.
What?
Because she had heard stories about Mexico City. She's like, I'm not gonna lose my kid. You are too curious. You wander around.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't really changed much. And
So she knew you were a dog at an early age.
Right, yeah.
She's let me put the leash on this bitch.
she had me on a leash. she's like, times were tough, so we had to come up with something to not to lose you, and then we got here in late about 26 years ago.
So let's speak on that real quick, because I don't know about the whole. We don't need to go into the whole legalese of everything, but Victor had to come in a trunk. Right. And you came here legally during the Reagan years. Why do you think it was so much easier to come to this country legally back in the day?
Why was it easier during that time? Well, you have to remember that right after the 70s, if you want to go really deep, at least with Nicaragua's politics, Carter, when he left the presidency, and then it was Ford, I think it was. Am I right? I'm getting my history wrong.
And it was Reagan.
And then it was Reagan. He was really tough with what they call Nicaragua the Sandinistas, the Contras.
I remember that.
So he, with fighting communism, socialism, whatever you want to call it, in Nicaragua and Cuba, and so they had granted, the political asylum to be able to get some of these people out safely. And my parents, my brother and my dad, they had to flee the country, or else they were going to get killed by the opposition party, because we were, obviously not, we weren't involved in the party. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then right after that, we were very blessed that we were able to get a visa, my mom, my sister, and I, and we flew a month after that.
That's amazing.
And we already had family here, so it was a different, we had an establishment here. We were the late ones to come in the late 80s, because most of our family had come here in the 70s.
So let's be honest, you are a refugee. Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's we have issues with refugees.
Political refugee.
You're a political refugees.
Yeah. That's how they become a citizen. Yeah. Political asylum.
Yes, and we obviously have issues with that now in this country, that it's not as accepted anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the product of it.
You are a product of it, and you are a American citizen. You are paying your taxes. You're doing your due, right?
Exactly.
She's doing it.
She's doing it.
Yeah, I'm giving back to the public, girl.
As you should. As you should. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. What is life when you were in Guatemala and Nicaragua, and you're acclimating to, let's be honest, the white people of the country here?
Yeah. Watch out, there's a white person.
There is a white person sitting next to me, actually. There's actually two.
No. I'm the token white.
There you go. We got the token white person here, right? As a black woman, as a black girl, I didn't really see black and white when I was a kid, because I was born in LA. We were raised in Rancho Cucamonga. I didn't see that. I didn't recognize racism until a little boy called me the N-word when I was in 6th grade.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what the N-word was.
Wow.
Right.
What was it like when you guys were you're in elementary school, you guys are in elementary school, in high school, junior high? What was that like?
Arsenio, go ahead.
Well, I was telling you, we had a family here, so when I came in, we grew up in a very privileged area in Orange County, in Cypress, California.
What?
Yeah.
He flew here.
Yeah.
And then he went to grow up
No, let me get the story right. We lived in Winter Park for about a year before we transitioned to Cypress.
Okay.
So to me, it was a shocker, I have to admit, because I felt like, I had to conform. Even though I was very young, I never felt like I can really relate with the white folks, or even with Mexicans, because I was a white Latino, coming in. So it was a different experience, but it was a very blessed experience. I do remember feeling very privileged, because even though we didn't have the best means, we had just enough. It was during the Clinton years, I remember, more than anything, growing up, and it was just, I didn't feel less than, but I still felt like I needed to keep up with these kids, and keep up with the intellect, and keep up with the homework, and still be Latino at home, and talk Spanish, and try to assimilate with my family both at home, and then over the years after that, I had to going back to Nicaragua, back and forth, and be able to really keep up with both cultures, I have to say.
Okay.
In that sense.
And what about you, Vic?
To me, what I remember, when I first started going to school in Malibu was, I just liked having a lot of fun. Certain kids would sometimes point out my differences, but other kids would stand up for me, so it wasn't too much of a big deal. But when I ended up going to school in Oxnard, because after, I started going to high school in Oxnard after going to elementary school and junior high school in Malibu, and then all of a sudden when I started associating with more Filipinos and Latinos,
really?
It was kind of I was like, oh, this kind of feels a little weird. I guess I get so used to being around white people, when I spoke Spanish, people were like, oh my God, you're really white. and so I don't know. It was interesting, you know, because definitely growing up in Malibu, I mean, it's such a rich city, you know, and like of course all my friends, they had like these huge houses, like, you know, their families had huge houses and nice cars, and here like my family was like, we were 5 members in like a 2-bedroom apartment. And we had like this big old station wagon, you know, like the typical like, you know, Latino family wagon that you would see out there. So yeah, it's interesting. You know, I think back to just, I guess, how it was that that I went through like all the different cultures, and I'm glad I got to experience that at a young age, because now I feel you know, like I can relate to a lot more people.
Did either of you have like that token white person that kind of took you under their wing and was like kind of, you know, helped you?
Well, you know, in junior high school, there was this kid that, like, he was this, you know, I think he was like in 8th grade, I was in 6th grade. And I remember one time these kids were kind of like, they were, hey, you beaner, you know, they were like talking to me, like, yeah, I know, right?
Oh my God.
And I remember this kid, like, came up to them and, like, pushed one of the kids and just like, you know what, just leave him alone, you know? So, like, and after that, like, he was always like, hey, what's up? Like, he would always, like, see me in their halls, and I felt he was, like, my protector, you know? Like,
right.
When anyone, like, tried to, you know, come and do something, like, they would like kind of look his way, and like he'd kind of just like nod his head like to leave me alone, you know. So I thought that was kind of cool.
All right.
Are you still friends with that person?
No, I'm not. I'm not. But you know, if I could reconnect with him, I'd be like, oh my God, thanks for protecting
Thank you.
me.
Yeah. What about you, Arsenio?
No, I don't think I did, actually. I think I tried so hard to fit in to be as white as I can.
Really?
In
Did you buy the book?
elementary
Did you buy the white book?
Yeah, I totally did. I was your homecoming princess, whatever it was, you know. I was totally trying to keep up, and in hindsight, looking back, you know, I was trying to be just as Latino with the Latinos and just as white with the whites, and try to assimilate with, you know, I was the underdog and try to assimilate with the underdogs as much as I could. But it was an interesting and fun experience, but also, you know, it was, you're trying to kind of grow in your skin, and it was definitely an eye opener to what was to come afterwards after graduation.
Well, let's talk about afterwards. I am so excited to introduce this brand new sponsor, Michelle Castillo. She's a friend of mine, but she's also an estate planning attorney, and her practice focuses on helping families for the future. Her areas of practice is estate planning, trusts, wills, healthcare directives, power of attorneys, guardianship nominations, trust administration, probate, and asset protection. She has over 15 years experience in the real estate, mortgage, and insurance industry, and she's a good friend of mine. Contact Michelle Castillo today. She's also bilingual in English and Spanish. Her phone number is 818-384-2686. Once again, 818-384-2686. And her website is michellecastillolaw.com. Tell her Queen ShanShan sent ya. Hunty! We are here to talk about all sorts of things. This is a broad show. We call it a broad for a reason. We have a broad people, we have a broad thinking, we have a broad perspectives, and a broad lifestyles. Right. You two are 2 gay Latino men living in Los Angeles. You're okay with the looks. You're so okay. And
Queen. It's Queen.
No, they're trash bras. They are very, very good looking men.
Aww,
because you give me shit, I'm gonna give you shit. So, Arsenio and Victor are hot. Okay.
Aww,
and with that being said,
we're single too, by the way.
And single. Oh, that's right. Single, hot, and Latino. Okay.
Right.
You guys have had some struggles coming out and
sure.
being in the Latino community.
For sure.
My brother, you know, being a black man coming out being gay was hard for him. Yeah. You have Catholicism, the religion that's an issue. Being Latino, being coming from a country that doesn't really accept the LGBT community. Speak on that. What were your struggles as young men coming out, and what was your experience coming out?
All that and then some. Right?
All that and then some.
Right.
Arsenio, I'll start with you. You being the younger one, because I'm sure...
My coming out experience. You know, I mentioned my coming out experience really from 18 to 24, but I want to redefine. It was really 18 to 25. And I say all those years because it was during that time, you know, that a month after graduation, when I got out of high school and I was moving into my, dorm room, and working as a dental assistant and saving up for college at that time. I already had a boyfriend with him, so I was so looking forward to get out of the house because I just wanted to get out of that.
Did you know you were gay when you were younger?
Oh, absolutely.
You went like younger, like kid?
Since I could possibly remember, having, liking and being attracted to boys at 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
And which brings me to my mom. When I did come out to my mom, that was the first question she asked me. She's like, how old were you when you came, you knew? I said, I was very young. And she's like, were you molested? Were you raped? And then she asked, what did I do wrong? Over that week period. So I defined that because she told me, well, if you come out now to your dad, then we're going to move back to Nicaragua and we're not going to help you with college. So you may want to rethink your coming out to your dad. So it was, so those, that's why I say 18 and 25, because it was always like closeted back in the closet. And so I came out to dad really at 24, 25. Closer to 25.
Because you were scared, obviously, of what your mom said.
I was terrified. I was coming out to family. I went to therapy. During that time, I got DUI. I was just terrified. I was in the gay scene, being a crazy. I was following this guy, Victor, when I was 18. And because you are a little older than I am.
Dang, Victor, how old are you? Dang.
44.
Woo! That is 92 in gay years, right?
It is, God.
Yeah.
Jesus, for reals.
I remember being in the gay scene at 18 and Club Puppy, and remember him being a dancer. And it's funny how the circle of life works. Because years later, I got to meet him as, as a friend.
That's so interesting, yeah.
That's so cool.
You went to Pepperdine. You got your MBA in Pepperdine University, right?
No,
that's
did.
Victor did.
Victor, yeah.
And where did you go to college?
I went to
Arsenio?
UC Riverside for my bachelor's in psychology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why was psychology your major?
Why was psychology my major? I think, we were just, I went into chemistry sciences. I wanted to be a dentist, and then I quickly realized
how hard it is, right?
How hard it was. How I didn't even understand the Russian professor to begin with.
Yeah.
I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm gonna survive this."
Yeah.
Not only that, and I was like, I think I can do psychology. That's something that it can be feasible.
Yeah.
And then I started grad school for 2 years, and I dropped out at Long Beach State. School counseling program.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I was discriminated through that program. So that's a whole other topic.
Wow. Next topic.
Next
oh my
topic.
God. You were discriminated because you were gay?
Through Long Beach State, yeah, people.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Give us a little
Not the
tiny...
MSW program, because I have to say
Spill the tea on that.
Spill the tea.
Long Beach State has great programs, but the school counseling program, I have to say, there was this professor or this assistant at the time who was... who the night before we either had a choice of doing a thesis or a comprehensive exam, and so I chose the exam. Night before, he just blowed up my phone saying, "You gay," I don't want to use bad words.
He used the F word?
Yeah, he just degraded me, and
what?
it just messed with my head. The next day, I went in to that exam, and I completely failed. And I came back the following semester, and I did pass it overall. But after that experience, I just wanted to drop out.
Oh, do you think he's still working at Long Beach State?
He now is a faculty member full time at Long Beach State. Because when I tried to go back to finish what I started, and I reapplied, I knew he was part of the committee who was
Get out of here.
Yeah,
that's awful.
it's interesting, but yeah. Long Beach State, UC Riverside, good experiences as far as education for the most part. It was just that one little obstacle that I went through. In hindsight, if I would have done it all over again, if I would have been in a different mindset, I would have definitely been my own advocate for finishing my higher education.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. Sorry you had to go through that.
You'll finish. You want to finish eventually? Want to go back and finish your degree?
Maybe not in that. Maybe in
something
master's in
else?
social work or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or who knows?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Victor, what about you when you're coming out to your mother?
Mothers always know. And I think as a young kid, I recall my mom ended up telling me a story lately that when I was younger, she got into fights with my uncle because he would see me kind of running around and he would say, your son's going to be a, F, the F word. Mm-hmm. So she would get upset and start fighting. But I realized it probably, I would say maybe around like 10 or 11 around that time. And I came out to my mom when I was 23. And, she actually took me out of the closet. She actually called me and she asked me if I was gay. When I told her it wasn't a really, positive experience, the very first thing she said was, you're going to live a lonely life. What kind of, life are you going to live? She also told me that I was probably going to end up dying early and I was going to catch AIDS. And she said not to, disclose this to the family. And if my grandma ever found out, she would die. So it was, it was a really depressing time. During that time, I was, drinking heavily. I was, stripping at a bar. I was doing a lot of things that when I look back, it was self-destructive behavior. And I think that was my way of just dealing with the fact that I felt I had two different lives. I had my day life, which was, professional. I've been working for the county right now for 20 years. And I remember going to work and I was just so about my work and being professional. And then once I left work, I went to the gym, worked out, got to the club, and then I became a ho-fessional. Professional by day, ho-fessional by night.
Ho-fessional. Can I say something real quick? When I met you 10 years ago...
Oh, you mean when you saw me swishing down the hallway and you were like, ooh, he got a little swish on him.
It's your dad. I'm like, he is. Who is he trying to pretend? You kept it under wraps even at work. Obviously, you want to be professional.
Yeah.
But I knew you were gay.
Yeah.
But you, at that time, you were still kind of in a closet. And
I was.
Yeah, you were still kind of a closet. Yeah. I've noticed, because you and I we got to be Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And I noticed a thing about your pictures that they were diluted.
Yeah, definitely.
For a reason.
Right.
Compared to my other gay friends who are very, very out.
Right.
Very, very flamboyant.
Correct.
I've noticed that you had certain pictures that you would only post that really didn't display that you were a gay man.
A
that
big
you were,
queen that I am. Is that what you're saying?
That she was not part of the sisters.
Okay.
And I had a conversation with you, and you explained to me your personal history and
right.
why it was still, even 10 years ago, it was a struggle.
Right. Because I felt that throughout the time that I was coming out, and I think I didn't fully come out until I think I was like close to 40. I was about 39.
Right, I remember that.
And I had to, of course, come out to my mom because I was in a relationship at that moment, and it was Thanksgiving time.
I remember that.
And he was black,
right?
So I was bringing
oh
the
my
Thanksgiving
God, grasp me my pearls! You were dating a black man and a black gay man. Oh my God!
Exactly. So, sitting down at the dinner table with my mom,
That was the first time you brought a boyfriend to the family, right?
Well, I had brought, other boyfriends that I've had, but they were always just, tu amigo, my friend.
Your friend.
Yeah, but as far as acknowledging, him as, a boyfriend, and so when I came out to my mom that second time, and I said, so with Thanksgiving coming, I just want to let you know that, I'm seeing someone. And by that particular point in my life, I had gotten to the point where I felt like, if anyone is going to be in my life, they're going to be in my life to accept me for who I am and, the person that I am.
Right.
No filter needed. So I actually separated from my family a little bit when I first came out because of, just my mom's reaction. My brother was fine with it. My sister was fine with it. They were all totally cool. But my mom and dad definitely had a hard time. So because of that reason, I did pull away from the family. And then, now things are so much better. The second time around when I told her, she didn't really even remember the first time that I actually went ahead and actually came out to her. And I think that once, I hate to say this, but, Grandma, I love you and miss you. But once she passed away, it was kind of okay, she's gone now, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
Wow. Because your mom was afraid of what your grandmother would say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My mom was always oh my God, your grandma, if she finds out, and I'm like, my grandma's in another country. We're over here. What does it matter? But to my mom, it was just family is such a huge thing, and she didn't want to be embarrassed. For the longest time, when my mom's friends would ask, why isn't he married? Why doesn't he have any kids? Because this, if I was in Guatemala, I would have had 5 kids and, had this big old belly, and that would have been life,
Right. But it's your grandmother probably knew too.
Oh, she did.
Oh,
she did.
honey, mothers know. Grandmothers know.
No, my grandmother knew because
the
last time I went to Guatemala and she was still alive and she was still well, I recall that, she had this conversation with somebody about a gay person, and she was saying, oh, she's I don't understand, what kind of life, do you think they're trying to have? Oh, no, that's just an abomination. And while she was saying that, she was kind of looking at me, and I remember the day that she died, the day before she died, I was actually in Guatemala and I was going to fly back that night. And I knew it was going to be the last time that I saw her. And she sat there in her deathbed and she had this look and she was looking at me like if she was asking for forgiveness in a sense, you know, like if she was like, damn, you know, it's my day. And I realized who you are, you know, and I told her, I said, you know what, you've done a great job of raising, you know, your kids. They're all independent. We're good, you know, we're good. And that was the last I saw her. And then the next morning, like they called me when I got back to the U.S. and they were like, oh yeah, she passed away. Yeah. It was the craziest thing. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But you know, the relationship with my parents now, unfortunately, Arsenio's having a hard time with his family. But all I can tell Arsenio is that it takes time, you know. And I think with me, what made me, I guess, just find the courage to step away from my family a little bit was just knowing that I was okay. You know, that I created a network of support with friends,
Right.
and I had, you know, this awesome relationships that, you know, even if my parents were to disown me, and, I mean, they're not going to disown you. Yeah, they'll be upset, but, you know, in their eyes, you know,
It's funny though you say that because when I met him, you know, you were in that transition period.
Yeah.
You know, in your late 30s, going into your 40s. At that, you were like, you know, I'm finally coming to terms with this, and enough is enough.
Yeah.
And you know, I say this now, like recently coming out to my family again. It was like we have a younger niece of mine who's 16, almost 17. She came out to my sister when she was 12. Well, she said, I like girls. And I told my sister, the first thing that you need to do is remove yourself from what you envisioned this girl to be. What, you know, whatever you thought she was going to be for you, just cater to her needs. It's all about her now. It's not about you. It's not about your husband. It's not about us. So in a way, you know, they're still doing the same thing that they did, you know, without knowing, to me. And so I said, no, we need to move from tolerance to acceptance. And so recently when they came to the States from Nicaragua for the holidays, I had a conversation with them. It was a really dark period during the holidays. And I said...
That was 4 months ago.
That was just
3 months ago.
Yeah,
the last
just recently.
Christmas. Okay.
And I told them, like, I'm not here. I'm not seeking anybody's approval.
Right.
I said, I love you. You taught me so much, you know, to how to be a good person and just to be, you know, to how to give back and also to... how to respect myself more than anything. I'm at a point now that I love myself more.
Good.
And so either you start changing your ways and accepting us, because there's one day that little girl and me may want to bring a partner.
Absolutely.
A wife, a husband, because you know we're legal now, right?
Hello.
Exactly. You know, and so Victor has been such a support in that sense without you knowing it though. You have been because you've been an example.
I want to speak on that. So real quick before I speak on that, are you and your dad okay now, Arsenio?
Yeah, I think when I had that conversation, it was a step forward. You know, I almost feel like when they go back to Nicaragua, I was telling you this too, offline, off air. It's like they're in survival mode back to Nicaragua because they're going through their own, you know, hard times out there in Nicaragua.
Yes.
You know, with the current times out there at least. So, you know, it's almost like in essence, like, you know, they know where I stand, but it's when they come back and revisit wherever I'm at that point in my life, then I think that's when they really realize, okay, you know, that's where Arsenio is. But it's a better relationship with father and mom. Yeah. It's a work in progress.
Victor, you spoke of the community, and we're going to talk about this. As a straight woman, I have been criticized on having gay friends. And I am not going to say any names. All you guys know who you are. You're listening.
Shameful.
I know. It is shameful. I have friends, my girlfriends, my straight friends.
Yeah.
Shannon, why do you hang out with all these gay men?
Yeah.
I get that question.
Because they're fabulous.
They are fabulous. But I'm fabulous too.
You are.
That's
why we love you.
There's an equal level of fabulosity in the room right now.
Yeah.
And I've always been accepting of people of different backgrounds when I was a kid. My mom and dad are not big, huge LGBT friendly people, but my mom and dad taught us to love. Right. Now, it did take my brother a while to come out too. He didn't come out until he was 24, 25 years old because of the fear of losing the love of his parents. But my parents love us regardless. It took my brother over that fear to come out as well. We could talk about that at a different time. But for me, in the community, since I was in high school, I've had gay friends who were bullied gay men, gay boys who were bullied. Yeah. I didn't really know any women, lesbians in high school that much until I went to college and I went to San Diego, and then I met quite a few gay women when I went to school. But what I find as a straight woman is that I'm so comfortable with gay men. Mm-hmm. We laugh, we kiki, we make fun of each other, but at the same time, and we are judgy. I judge you in the minute you walk in. You're here with your dog t-shirt, rainbow shirt.
Gay dog.
I'm gonna look you up and down and judge you, but it's not that kind of judgment. Yeah. It's that, girl, who you think you are, and it's fun. It's kikiing. We love each other. We accept each other for our faults and our flaws, and I feel sometimes in the straight community, as again straight women, we are more judged harshly because of our looks, because we are not white, we are not this, we are not of this. Again, speaking of me, and I'm not skinny. Mm-hmm. I'm not this fit woman. I don't weigh 98 pounds, wet. Mm-hmm. But in the gay community, I could be 800 pounds and still be loved. Mm-hmm. I can be white, black, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, and Middle Eastern. I feel that there is a better community, but at the same time, the LGBT community is not also perfect either.
Correct.
There's also hypocrisy.
Oh yes, honey.
In the straight world and in the gay world.
Absolutely.
Arsenio had an issue with you coming out because you also had some homophobia about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want you guys to speak on some of the dark places in the LGBT community, some of the hypocrisies that you've noticed, and the homophobia that you might have had within yourself.
I'll let you take that first, Victor.
Oh, me? Okay. Well, the gay community, we're all about the LGBTQA community. We're all about, inclusion, but at the same time within the community themselves, you have this whole no fats, no femmes, no Asians type of thing, which, is unfortunate. I find that,
you can be friends with them, but you can't date them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It seems like if, especially like in like most of like, especially the hookup apps, not that I've been on them or anything, but.
I thought you owned a couple of them.
No, actually, I took them off my phone.
What?
Yeah.
You're no longer on Tinder or Grindr or Scruff?
I was never on Tinder. No.
What?
I've taken myself off.
Get out of here, Victor.
We'll come back to that later.
We are a new man today. Oh my God. I thought you were the CEO on one of them.
I should have had shares right now.
Absolutely.
No, but it is kind of like disheartening because, like I said, you do see that, there is, discrimination within our own community, especially, against transgender folk,
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have, seen that, and I think the transgender, folk are definitely the ones that I think suffer, the most within our community. So I don't know, I think it's just a lot of misconceptions and lack of education. I can tell you that I had certain thoughts of like what transgender people were like, but now having involved with this particular nonprofit organization, the Walls Las Memorias, like they have
what's the organization called again?
The Walls Las Memorias.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're based out of Baldwin Park.
Okay.
And Highland Park, excuse me. And they have just this group called Las Sirenas, and they are transgender women. And we've gotten a chance to get to know them and have conversations with them. And, they just basically, have the same, they had same outlook that I said, that they don't feel as welcome as the typical gay person.
And it's for me, as a straight woman, I don't know that I am so accepting of the transgender community, right? Because I think of the struggles that they had admitting that they felt that they were a man or felt that they were a woman at childhood. Right. I'm going to have in June because June is Pride Month, I'm going to have a guest here who is transgender, and that's going to be a phenomenal episode. That she felt that she was always a girl when she was, physically a boy. Yeah. And she's this freaking very successful business owner right now. Yeah. But she had her struggles, married with children. Wow. As a man. Wow. So it is about the education and the misconceptions. What about you, Arsenio? You mentioned in the pre-interview that you had some homophobia thoughts about yourself or homophobia thoughts about the community. What are your thoughts of how you're treated as a gay man?
Yeah. Victor had a great point. The whole I mentioned internalized homophobia because you know, growing up, the background that I have, at least with my father being involved and, you know, my upbringing, he thought that I was raised, when I came out to him, he thought that I was raised with too many women. That was his conception. You were raised with too many women.
You're raised with too many women, so that's why you're gay?
That's what?
Yeah, that's what my mom thought too.
Yeah,
What?
and so,
Yeah.
you know, fitting into that masculine, you know, being more masculine and trying to fit into that stereotypical, you know, norms. And not only that, racial discrimination among the gay community, there's a lot of that. The coming out experience for white folks and for people of color, for people, you know, for it's different for everybody, I think, you know, and across the board, even for transgender. But for a person of color, Latino, it was definitely a difficult experience to really accept my sexuality because I really struggled. I was very suicidal.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
me too.
yeah.
I think
You
I
were
think
suicidal?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh,
You,
yeah.
both of you?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why the suicide rate in the gay community is so high.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you want to be accepted. We all want to be inclusive.
We want to be loved.
We want to
Yeah,
be
we all
loved.
want that.
Just long to be loved.
We
And-
want to be loved so badly, and then when
right.
we don't get it, we harp on ourselves. And I can speak again, my insecurities. I mean, Edward, please play into this. You know, you're a gay man. You're in a relationship.
Oh, he's gay?
Who would have known?
He's a girl.
I'm white. I'm white. Don't tell anybody I'm white.
He's gay
I'm
and
doing
white.
gay.
Oh,
He's
wow.
gay and white.
That's
Oh my
how
God, gay and white. We're putting all boundaries on this show today. What are your thoughts about listening to their struggles, and what did you know when you came out? Did you have the same similarities?
I mean, yeah, it's like both of you guys. It's a very similar story. It's not
Yeah.
like a rubber stamp, but
Yeah.
it's like the mom. What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
I said,
Right.
no, you didn't do anything wrong, Mom. You did everything right.
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 You know, and she was just like she was really taken aback by that. But I also came out twice to my mom.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think I was 30 when I came out the first time, and it was just like kind of swept under the rug.
Yeah.
It's just like there's just a phase or something.
Yeah.
And then again at 36, you know, and I was like, look, this is really happening.
This is really happening.
Either you're on this or you're not.
Right.
And it was a great story that how I came out to her because it was over the phone, but 'cause they live in Texas.
Yeah.
And so a lot of things that I'm hearing from you guys is it's a struggle that I think we all go through as gay men.
Yeah.
Like we do want to be accepted, and
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to never be bullied or anything like that growing up. I just lived in a small town in Texas, and
Right.
that wasn't a thing.
Right.
Gay. I didn't I
Right.
didn't know what gay was.
you didn't
but
know what gay was, but
But I knew I was gay from a young age, like
Okay.
like yourself. I knew like by 8 or so, I probably
that you were attracted to boys.
didn't really know what it meant. It just was like, I think I like that instead of that.
Right.
But ironically, I hung out with more girls.
Interesting, because you
Yeah.
felt a community, right?
Yeah.
Just like I
Just
feel a
one of the
community.
girls.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with just one of the girls as well.
Yeah.
When we go on brunch, we go shopping, or we go and do our clubs, we go to parties.
Yeah.
I am so comfortable, and my straight friends criticize me for that. Even my gay friends said, I'm never going to find a husband if I hang out with gay men. And I'm like, God, that's so sucky
It's
to
not
say.
true, though.
That isn't true.
Because
Like, you could get knocked up by a gay guy.
Right?
Actually,
I don't want any
that would
kids.
be like a really good movie,
have
though.
a
Like,
friend.
you're like hanging out with all your
It
gay
is. Well,
friends.
people have it. That's
and
what
you
they call surrogates.
You get wasted, and then like everybody
But
goes
honey,
home.
I want straight penis. I'm strictly dickly.
Well, then you have a kid, though, like 3 months
But
later.
I
you're
want
like,
straight.
Oh, I'm pregnant.
I want straight Shannon penis. Like someone wants to crave me from my body and wants to bend me over.
You want
I want.
Tyrone.
Not really a Tyrone. He could be a Thomas.
Thomas.
You prefer a Thomas, I think.
I do prefer a Thomas, but he could be a Tyrone, a Thomas, a Terry. But I need a straight viral man, and maybe I'm not gonna get that straight viral man and find him at a gay club when I'm on WeHo on a Sunday brunch with my boys. So be it. But you know what? I'm also not in the gay. I'm not in WeHo every day either. I'm working. I get hit on at work. I get hit on shopping. I get hit on vacations. I have my time.
Oh, we
Okay.
know.
Oh,
we
Reclaim
know.
your time, girl. Reclaim
Reclaim my
your time.
And I hope I will find that amazing man in my life, but I'm not going to say I'm not going to find it because I can't hang out with my gay friends.
Yeah.
You guys are my family.
Yeah.
Okay? You guys accept me for who I am, and sometimes in the straight community, I'm not accepted for whatever reason.
Oh, wow.
But I'm interested. That's why I want to hear even the struggles that you have in the gay community, because people don't realize that happens too
Right.
on your side of the fence.
Right.
It
Okay.
happens.
Chicken orzo soup, burrata caprese, meatball ricotta toast, Calamari? No, these aren't wigs I'm talking about. These are brand new dishes at Ma's Italian Kitchen, located at 267 North Pass Avenue in Burbank, California. The phone number is at Ma's Italian Kitchen is 818-567-2288. They provide private dining and they also cater private parties. Michelle created an amazing menu and I want you to tell them Queen ShanShan sent ya. Hunty! So what can you tell to the younger generation, the millennials, the generation after the millennials coming out and they realize that they're gay, or they realize that they're transgender, they realize that they're binary. You know, that's the word they're using for gender fluidity. Non-conforming binary. I mean, apparently there's a list of 100 now definitions of gendered identity.
Oh wow.
That's being studied. So what do you tell the young people of today, you know, if they want to come out and they're still closeted, they're still scared to come out to their mom and their dad or their friends? What's advice that you give them today?
I think the best thing I can let them know is that they will know when they're ready, and if they're thinking about it, it means that, you know, they're obviously getting ready. They need to just know that there's, you know, resources out there. Gay and Lesbian Center.
I'm super proud of this young generation coming out.
Yes.
They're coming out fierce.
Yes.
Without labels.
They sure are.
And I just want to tell you to not be scared. That it's going to get better, and it will get better.
Yeah.
And don't settle. And that you're not alone. There, like Victor was saying, there are resources out there.
Yes.
And there are people who do fit in that misconception of who you are.
Yeah.
So continue being that misfit
Yes.
or that outcast that you
That
are,
weirdo.
because eventually
The weirdo. Yeah.
those
Yeah.
people who are bullying you are going to want to be you. When you
Yeah.
grow
Preach!
up.
Preach, Arsenio!
Snap.
Preach!
Snap.
We are snapping.
Snap.
But let's
That's
talk
that.
about also the older generation,
Yeah.
because again, my friends who came out who were in their 40s or their 50s.
That's me.
That's you,
Oh,
right?
That's not old. What are you talking about?
People who are married and they are having 2 or 4 or 5 kids and they're in a relationship for 30 years and they
Yeah,
come out to
that's
their
hard.
wives or their husbands. I'm gay.
Right.
What do you
That's
talk? How do you talk to that generation?
Yikes, that's difficult.
It's never too late.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's never too late. You can't put in. That's the thing that our society lives off of age. Even straight women, you out
Sure,
of all
okay.
people know this. You know,
Ageism.
yeah,
Madonna speaks on it all the time.
Exactly, and the gays are very critical of it too.
Yeah.
We're, you know, just like women, we fear wrinkles. Or today, for instance, I was at the barbershop, white hair, Arsenio, I'm all, pull it out. You know, like pull it. Like,
God.
how dare you tell me there's a white hair?
Okay.
You know. But why? It's never too late to start over again.
Okay.
You know? Find your, like Oprah says, find your true self.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm getting there. So,
How old are you, Arsenio?
35.
35 and you're 44.
Yeah, but you know what? I remember like being about like 22, 23, and like thinking that like 38 to 40-year-olds were so old.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my God, they're old.
Ghosts.
We all did. I said I would never become 45, and I'm now
Yeah.
46 years old, turning 47 next month.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would say I'm a 40-something-year-old woman, because I was
Right.
always thought I was going to be 20,
Right.
20-something viral and kicking it, and I wasn't in the profession like you were, but I was doing some hoeing, you know. And so we all sowed our oats.
Yeah, for sure.
And we continue to sow our oats, but in different ways.
Yeah,
different
absolutely.
levels, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, we are going to spill some tea. Okay? You boys have been too polite.
My God, the water's boiling.
Uh-oh.
Do you hear that whistle in the background? We have to spill the truth tea. Victor, you used to be a dancer / stripper.
Yeah.
And Arsenio said he saw you in 1890 when you used to strip.
1998.
When she was shaking that ass for dollars.
Right.
She was shaking the booty for cash dollars.
Right.
And but with that industry, you dabbled in drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was you did you abuse it?
I did. You know, it was kind of an experience that I felt. You know, it was programmed. Okay, if we're being real here, if we're
Let's
spilling,
be real, honey.
if
The
we're spilling
wigs
some
are
tea,
off.
let's open up Pandora's box.
Okay, she is open and exposed.
So, at a young age, you know, I was actually molested. Okay. And I recall that my uncle, okay, would actually give me money for me to like be dancing around in my underwear, you know. So at that particular point, I was like, okay, dancing around in underwear, you know, that's gonna, you know, give me money. It's gonna make me feel like powerful. So when I became older, you know, I had a friend that was, you know, into dancing. He went ahead and actually, you know, kind of inspired me, I guess you could say, to start doing it. And when I did it, I liked it. You know, I did feel that sense of, you know, power in a sense, but at the same time, I did feel that I needed to either be high or I needed to be drunk in order to be up there, you know, in order to have, to cope with people just continuously staring at me.
And grabbing at you and pawing at you.
At me and,
But did you feel it was a power position as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, you're basically always pretty much higher than everybody else.
You're on the stage.
Yeah, you're on the stage, all eyes on you. It was a great and profitable time, you know, but at the same time, it did take its toll because of the fact that, you know, I was working full time. I had a relationship during that time. You know, I was going to school, you know, and I was also like stripping, you know, it was, I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. What's it called? Angel or something like that. An old movie.
Angel?
But it was about this girl that went to school like during the day and then at night she was like the stripper. Yeah. So it was kind of like, you know, I had that particular experience, but it was hard and it was taxing because I would do that, you know, 3 to 4 nights a week, sometimes 5 nights a week.
Jesus, working a full-time job and going to school?
Yeah, and then I would just be able to get home, take a shower, maybe hook up, you know, because, you know, every time I would dance, you know, I would hook up.
Of course.
Right. Duh.
Sometimes I would just get home and I would just
not even sleep.
Yeah.
And because of what you were again, we're gonna break down the tea. What kind of drugs you're doing? Cocaine, crack, meth?
Everything. Mostly on weekends though. During the week I was responsible.
You were a crack hoe on the weekends, but then a meth head on the weekdays.
No, on the weekend where I wasn't going to be, you know, working and having much brain function, you know, I dabbled on the harder stuff, you know, but, you know, during the week, it was mostly just drinking, you know, occasionally smoking pot, you know, but for the most part, yeah, weekends were a little heavier, definitely. But, yeah, you know, dancing, I think for me, I got to meet a lot of great people, and I think it gave me a little level of, like, gave me confidence.
It sure did.
I mean,
kept you in shape as well because you had to be.
Too.
If you're a dancer, you got to be working out that body.
Right.
Body, yada yada. He had a hot. Ooh, I already said I was
Still do, but back
You do look good, Victor. Victor,
Yeah.
stop it. You do look good.
he even
But
had
like 50
flyers and everything. Girl, I'm going to go this weekend to see this guy.
Well, what about you, Arsenio? Like you had a depression part at that time as well.
Yeah,
and you said you were, you know, did you self harm?
It was an ongoing phase. I feel like my 20s were my teenage youth. It was since I was ripped away from, you know, being out in my teen, you know, being in high school and just, you know, it was like 20s was like, it's like a relapse. I was a professional all of a sudden, working, working as a tutor, working in another job as a case manager, making decent money. Yeah, I did every drug you can think of.
Every drug you can think of.
To just really cope and try to escape whatever it was that you were trying to, you know, feel. What, you know, and for me it was just trying to understand who I was becoming and fully immerse myself in the gay community because I was like, this is a whole new world, you know?
What was it that you said, I don't need these drugs and alcohols to have a good time? We all love our alcohol. I get my little buzz on the weekend and have my cocktail, but I never really did drugs. Right. I think that the worst thing I've ever done was marijuana. So I don't know what it's like to have cocaine or crack or meth. I never did that stuff. Yeah. So because I was scared of it and I just didn't want it. So what stopped you from saying I don't need to go to that route anymore?
Yeah. What stopped me? I think. Because I work in the field of social work and I work in that, I started seeing, you know, the clients that I was interacting with and then really reversing what I didn't want to become or fought. Because addiction is very real, let's be honest. If you're gay, straight, bi, whatever race, it doesn't discriminate. Addiction is so real. And so even now in my 30s, I feel like, with the work that I do is I can understand addiction better because I've kind of been there, At one point, I just got older and I realized I was throwing my life away.
Yeah.
And I needed to pick up and get my stuff together before it was too late.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think you guys are two amazing men. I love you
Thank
very
you.
much. You're okay, Victor. I'm so glad you guys are on the show because I feel that the community has still a long way to let people know what's going on. We need to be educated.
Yeah.
We have so many misconceptions about me being a black woman. The people have misconceptions about myself. I'm born and raised here. I don't know the most accepting person than me.
Right.
And just for me to know people who are prejudiced and racist, and the volatile administration that we have now that encourages hate, it's just insane to me. It's just absolutely insane to me. And I don't want to get political, but we are living in a time where we have people killing each other because they're afraid of a race. They're afraid of, look what happened in New Zealand a few days ago.
I know, that was
Awful. 51 people died because a white man was scared.
Uh-oh.
Let's be honest. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. So we have to love each other. We need to accept each other. We need to learn about each other. Because if I didn't know about your history, I can't. Now I love you guys even more because I know your history. Let's take time, you guys, to learn about each other.
Yeah.
And not just say, well, they're gay, they're straight, they're this, and then write them off.
Right.
Because we have to, this world is too small.
It is.
It is too small. And I don't want to go to my grave thinking that I didn't like someone because of their race or their color or their religion.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. Or
Come
sexual
on.
orientation.
Or sexual orientation.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We
and
love
it's less
you.
therapy.
Yeah.
We need to have a part 2.
Yeah.
Down the line.
Oh, of course we're going to have a part 2.
Part 2.
Absolutely.
If you dance.
Okay.
That's on my YouTube
Drag
channel.
the drag.
That's my YouTube channel. Part 2. We're gonna see what happened to this old man who used to be a dancer.
Where are they now?
Amazing.
Where are they now? That's okay. Book it, Edward. Book it.
I'll get it. I'll get my people on it.
Victor and Arsenio, you guys know I travel a lot, right?
You sure do, girl.
Right? And
Every time I check on your Instagram, you're like in another country. I was like, dang, this girl travels more than she works.
Oh, easy! Shut your mouth. I want to always get people's opinion about what they like to do in terms of traveling. So, what is your obscure? This segment is called Obscure Places. My obscure place I'll talk about in a minute. But Victor, what's your obscure place that you've always wanted to go to, check out, experience?
Bora Bora. It's just so beautiful. I just see the pictures and it's just, it's amazing.
It is
I see
amazing.
myself just like, walking around naked, laying on the
Okay.
beach, swimming around with a fish.
Okay.
There's huts. There's a hut
Yes.
on the water.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I
those
was-
huts
Amazing.
over the water.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
It is wonderful.
Have you been
I
there?
was there in 2015.
Yeah, see?
15.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
it was
amazing.
fantastic. It's
Yeah.
expensive.
I can imagine.
It's French Polynesian.
Yeah.
It's French, so it's like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Each meal was like $70-$80 a meal.
Damn.
It's
Do they
very
catch
expensive.
the fish like right then and there?
They
Like,
have very
outside?
fresh fish, but
Yeah.
everything their fruits and vegetables are imported.
Oh,
That's why everything's so expensive.
Yeah.
But they got the fresh. They love the pig.
Oh.
We were one of the evenings we went to like a luau type. Because it's French Polynesian,
Yeah.
so we went to this luau type of dinner.
Uh-huh.
Had the pig in the ground and everything. It was delicious.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fruits and vegetables they don't grow on the island, so
Yikes.
that's why it's so expensive there.
Super expensive, yeah.
But yeah, Bora Bora, I definitely advise getting
You're like,
overwater.
start savings now.
Start saving now, bitch. Yes.
To travel in 10 years.
But it is a wonderful experience. What about you,
Awesome.
Arsenio? What's your obscure place you want to go to?
Israel. I would love to experience that with my mom.
Oh, I'd
to
like to go
kinda-
there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw one of your posts.
Yeah.
On, that you had been there recently.
I've been there. I was there last year.
So yeah, I definitely would love to travel there. Not only for the culture, for the men.
The
Obviously.
men are amazing.
And then I'm always seeking spirituality, and I think that would be definitely a spiritual trip.
The
Okay,
thing
you're just
about
like praying, being on your knees.
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Thailand, when I went to Thailand, I had a little bit of both.
You had a
But
stupid picture.
It really.
Just
He
keep
knows me
praying.
too well.
Just
He's
keep
calling
praying.
it out. He's keeping it real.
He's keeping it real.
That's what he's doing.
The gay community is pretty awesome down there too in Israel,
Right.
by the way, and Tel Aviv especially. Tel Aviv, the culture there. It's really funny. When I was there last year, we were there 3 or 4 weeks before there was an uprising, and there and Trump, of course, moved the what do you call it? The embassy. So there was a lot of drama. Thank God it didn't happen when I was there.
Right.
It was awesome. But Israel is fantastic. Easy to get there. We flew there from LA to Turkey to Tel Aviv, and we were there for 14 days. And we did a whole circle of the country from Tel Aviv to Caesarea to Galilee to Jerusalem, which was amazing, to Bethlehem. Yeah, we did a whole circle of it, and our guide was phenomenal. He was so intelligent, and we went to the my favorite, which was my obscure place that I want to talk about, is Petra.
Oh.
And Petra is, if you ever see the Temple of Doom, not Temple of
Indiana
Doom,
Jones.
Indiana Jones, The Last
Oh,
Crusade,
yeah.
they filmed it there.
Oh, wow.
That was my inspiration. I was a kid.
Yeah.
That movie. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what is this amazing place, Petra? And it really
what's
existed.
Inside? What's inside of it?
There's nothing, you can't even go in there.
Oh.
No, because it's so delicate. All those buildings, all those cravings, that's all sandstone.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they don't really know when that civilization started. It's still kind of estimated.
Yeah.
But you go there and you see the indigenous people. So in the area of Petra, they're called Bedouins. They're the people of the desert. And they're originally from there. But you get down there and you are in a magical place. So when you go down there, Arsenio, definitely take a couple of days. And it's in Jordan, so you have to go through, it was a deal to get to cross the border from Eilat to Petra. It was a whole day. Ridiculous. It was amazing. It was tiring, but it was amazing. So I highly recommend to go to Petra. We went to the Dead Sea.
Wow.
We visited the Red Sea. So, and again, the men are fantastic.
I remember.
We all,
Pictures.
and all cut, if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
Uncut?
No, cut, honey. They're cut.
Can I just say?
I thought you meant
Can I
cut,
just
like,
say
stop.
when you came
No.
back,
Stop. No, okay.
you had this amazing light about you when you came back from that
Yeah,
trip.
it was
I
a
mean,
spiritual experience.
I bet it was.
It really.
She was praying a lot.
I was on my knees.
She
too.
was on her
She was touching the wall.
Easy. I got my parents maybe listening to the show, so I gotta watch it. I gotta be careful. So yeah, Edward, what is your obscure place?
Well, it's real obscure. Nobody's heard of it until now, probably.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm probably butchering it, but it's called Cal Arco, Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Oh, wow.
Have you heard of it?
Cal Orco, I've never heard of it. I heard of
Cal
Bolivia,
Arco,
but
Bolivia.
wow.
Cal Orco, what's
Okay,
it
so
about?
it's a site where like dinosaurs used to be heavily roaming the earth there. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So it used to be a seabed or a lake bed. Okay. So what happened when the Earth's crust crashed together? This seabed flew up into the air like 200 or 300 feet, and it's just this long wall that used to be a seabed that has dinosaur prints all over the wall.
Wow.
So you look at it, and it looks like a painting, but it's all dinosaur feet, tracks,
Wow.
and
Get
mud
out of here.
from like 200 million years ago.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
That's
beautiful.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
beautiful.
it's just a natural wall now because it used to be a seabed, and when the plates smashed together, it went up, and it stayed that way.
Fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You
So
gotta put that
I've
on
never
like-
heard of that place, but now I'm interested in going.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I
So-
always wanted to go to South America.
Yeah, me
because
too.
Argentina is my list. Now Bolivia. Hello.
Now Bolivia. Go to Bolivia. They have salt mines there. They're insane. You race your cars on, like, if you like to race cars. I mean,
Yeah.
at 500 miles an hour, you can go out there and
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Well, thanks, you guys. That's our segment for obscure places. So we all have an event that we are looking forward to in April, right?
Yes! Jay's 40th birthday!
Okay. And it's my birthday too coming up.
Oh.
I'm an Aries, and my birthday is April 17th.
But are we dressing in drag for your
No,
birthday?
we're not, because we
Okay.
know it. I'm already in drag as it is. So we all are dressing in drag for this amazing event.
Yes.
And apparently there's some nervous tension. You guys are a little nervous in dressing in drag. Now, again, we're going to talk about, we're opening the tea tonight. We're talking about misconceptions. There is a big misconception that all gay men love to dress in drag.
Yeah.
That is a falsehood, correct?
It is a falsehood.
Interesting. Speak on it.
First of all, do you know how, number one, expensive drag is?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
I dress in drag every damn day. Yes,
Okay.
it is expensive.
And number two, how uncomfortable it is.
Yes, I wear a bra and I wear panties. Yes, it is
Because
uncomfortable.
if you want to look good, you gotta cinch, you gotta pull, you
Yes,
gotta tug,
preach.
you gotta paint, you gotta do so
Welcome
much
to our
stuff.
world, bitch.
So like mad props to like the
To
women
our- yes.
and all the queens, all the drag queens, because yeah, it's tough, you know. But I think it's, you know, tough for a lot of people too, because it's something so completely out of their comfort zone, you know. Being, of course, you know, a Latino, like we were like raised to be like these macho guys, and then, you know, for us to just like drop all that and become, you know, this
Feminine, dainty.
Yeah, it's hard. So last year when I did it, it was like awful because I had the wrong shoes. My feet were hurting like hell. And it was just, I was not ready. So this year, I've already started wearing my heels since like 2 weeks ago.
What? Are you wearing them around the house?
I am.
Okay.
As soon as I wake up, I put them on, walk around the house for about a couple minutes, and then when I get home, I'll still be like in all of my dress clothes from work, and I'll like put them on for like an hour. I'll go visit my neighbor in my heels, and he'll be like, "I heard you coming. I heard those heels. Clack, 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 clack."
What is wrong with you actually bringing those shoes to work and walking around and doing your paperwork and walking around and going to do... Where the hell's it work? The people are nice at your job.
You know what? That's funny that you mentioned that, because I can imagine just the stares and the comments that I would get for wearing that. Yeah, it would not be well
You
perceived.
don't think it would be welcomed over there?
I reported HR.
I don't know. It might be deemed inappropriate. But it's funny, you know, because today we actually got an email at work saying that they wanted to know how they wanted to know the weather of you know, the staffing. They wanted to know if people felt included. They wanted to know like if they felt I would refer anyone to the employer because if they were like non-gender conforming, you know, like.
Wow.
And I said no. I said I disagree. I would not, you know, because I don't feel that particular environment is yet. We're talking about social services people, you know. Some of them are very, very open, but I've noticed
Some of them are conservative.
some of them are very, very, very conservative. And I know that where I'm at right now, it's kind of like a higher level than, you know, being the eligibility worker with the district offices. So there's much more, you could tell that they try really hard to ensure that everybody fits in.
Of course.
So with that survey today, I think, you know, I was thinking about that, you know, if I was going to talk about that today, because I felt that was, you know, pretty important that they're actually reaching out to, you know, ensure that people are included, you know. But doing drag is like a completely different beast, you know. It really, really is.
It really
It's
is,
difficult.
yeah.
Let's just get Arsenio's take.
Okay. I'm actually, you know, scared of dressing up in drag.
Are you really?
Keep going back and forth. Do I really want to invest the money for one night? I keep asking myself.
Of course you do, honey.
And do I
Well,
really
fierce.
want all those pictures up on social media for everybody?
Yes!
It gets back to Nicaragua and the family, you know. So it's
Come on, Concha Toro.
again,
Come through,
the
Concha Toro.
internalized homophobia comes out, but you know, Concha Toro might make an appearance.
What does that mean?
It's my favorite wine.
It's actually called, like, it translates to like shell bull, right?
It's a Chilean wine, yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I was like, oh, I'm always drinking this Chilean wine right before I go to bed, and it's called Concha Toro. And,
And that's your name? That's going to be your drag name?
and I'm really like an
a
Amy
good one.
Winehouse.
That's
you know?
awesome.
So it sounds
That's
like
a
Concha-
great
yeah.
name.
Yeah, that's great.
So
Go with that.
I have a fear because I'm going to be dressed as a drag king.
Uh-huh.
You know, I got the boobs, I got the makeup, I got the hair. I have just a couple of wigs that are a little manly. I think I'm gonna do a mustache.
Well,
but
yours
you
is
still
going
gonna
fine
have...
right now. You should just let it grow.
Oh my God! F you, Victor.
I see little stubbles there.
How dare you? I just got waxed. How dare you?
No, you know what I was going to suggest to you? You could possibly, maybe try, since you're only going to wear the suit one time. I was thinking.
I don't know if it's a suit. I might go like a cowboy. I don't know.
Cowboy. Because I was going to say you could go out of the closet or some Goodwill store, to see if
I was totally going to go there.
Yeah, and then you could get a little fedora and then paint a little mustache. You're good.
There's, thank goodness, again, we live in Los Angeles and there's a million still, just because it's not Halloween, there's still a million costume stores here, just in Hollywood and even West LA here alone.
Yeah.
So I was going to go check out this store called Possibilities or something like that, and they're known for all their wigs and their mustaches, stuff like that, and I was going to either looking for a toupee, but I don't know if I was going to go either as a gentleman with a tux or with a suit or a cowboy, so I'm still thinking of, but I'd need some drag king names, so I was thinking maybe Moby Dick.
Ooh,
okay,
I like that one.
Or Strap Stradler.
Ooh.
Or Stephen Modeep. So if you guys have any drag king names, you broads listening, text me, or not text me, email me, or Facebook me some names, some drag king names.
Marlena's Dick Trick.
I'm a man.
But she does drag.
Oh, that's right.
You can be drag going as drag.
I can be drag going as drag.
Yeah.
Because she was really, really, she had that, the unisex feel.
Yeah.
What's the word?
She dressed as a man.
Yeah, she dressed as a man.
She was the original drag queen.
She was awesome, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited for the party. It's going to be really fun.
It'll be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. So Arsenio and Victor, I have a giveaway. And you may win it. You may win it because you guys need makeup for the party, okay?
Yes.
Okay. I went recently to go see Jeffree Star. Had an amazing weekend this weekend, and we got all kinds of swag. And it's swag that I already have. So why do I keep? I don't need to keep duplicates of makeup. So I'm giving away as a giveaway 2 palettes from Jeffree Star.
Oh.
And one palette is called the Northern Lights Highlight Palette, and it's amazing. It has these frosty glow colors, blues and greens and silvers. It's called the Northern Highlight Palette. Jeffree Star also had a palette for liquid lipsticks called Send Me Nudes. And it's a shade range of different types of nude colors and shade ranges. I'm giving away that for free in my giveaway. These palettes are like $40. Okay? So, hashtag giveaway, hashtag ABROAD podcast. If you guys are following me on Instagram, please follow me and say, we want that palette, Shannon, so I can enter you into the giveaway. We are doing the announcement of the winners March 29th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will announce it on Instagram and I will announce it on Facebook. But you guys have to follow me at ABROAD podcast on Instagram to enter to win. Do you want to win that palette, Arsenio?
Well, I'll be Amy Winehouse maybe, so we'll know. But yeah, girl, of course. But it'll be removed by the end of the night, With Concha Toro.
Love that name.
Victor, do you want to win that palette?
Of course. Sophia Viagra is always looking for.
Is that going to be your stage name? Sophia Viagra?
It's Sophia Viagra,
hilarious.
yes.
Oh my God.
Because how many boys have I made hard?
Ooh.
Right?
Hey, if you're poking around on the iTunes podcast app or any other platforms you listen to, please be sure to give us a review and a 5-star rating. Thank you so much for listening and continuing to subscribe, Rods, to this podcast. I really appreciate it. And I really want to take this time to thank Victor and Arsenio.
Thank you.
Thank
it was
you.
fun. It was great therapy.
It was therapy,
Yeah,
wasn't
when's
it?
our next session?
Okay.
Put me on the calendar.
I'm going to charge you coming over here. But I really appreciate it. Oh my God, this was such a great episode. And I really think everybody is really going to be able to relate to this episode.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
Yeah, it was fun.
Let's keep on having those meaningful conversations with
Absolutely.
everybody that we love. So thank you for allowing us to be here.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For the blast.
Tune in, you guys, to next week's show. Oh my goodness. This is going to be something really out of the park for me. Please join us for next week's show as I have guest co-host Kendra Waldman. She's an actress, writer, producer, and now author. And we discuss her provocative and little controversial new book called My Playdates with Susie.
Ooh.
Now, I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but wait until you hear this episode. You guys are going to be glued. Some of you guys are going to be like, this is... Woo! Queen ShanShan, what are you doing? But you know what? It's going to be a whopper of a show, so make sure you have your headphones on for that one because it's going to be deep. And that means a lot of other definitions.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you again, guys. I appreciate it. A broadcast podcast is brought to you by me, Queen ShanShan, with the help of Devin Carbaugh. Devin edits the show. Our amazing intro and outro music is by Joe Smith. Our art direction is brought to you by Theron Langhorn. I'm Queen ShanShan, and thank you for listening to Abroad.